Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Better Days Reign. So, about 6 weeks ago,
Yeah.
we had my boy Tyler Valentine in here,
What's going on?
and we figured we'd ask him to come do a follow-up show to
It's going to be fun.
see the progress and see what maybe has changed in Tyler over the last 6 weeks,
Yeah.
something like that. So, bro, last time we talked, you were on, I think, step 4, 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. I just got to step 12 and I just got a sponsee. So, and then it'll be a year on the 14th. A year sober.
Congratulations, bro.
Yeah, man. It's been the fastest and longest year of my life.
Yeah.
Especially, the whole car wreck and being that whole ordeal in itself. But it just feels like, man, it's almost like I've gone through different iterations of myself in the last year. It's like having one of those kaleidoscope little flip things on my eyes, and
Right.
it just seems like I keep flipping to a new one every couple months, and
Right on.
and it's like a more beautiful version every time. And I just I don't know, man. The last 6 weeks, really, I found myself being very confident in myself, and not in an egotistical or braggadocious way, but more like I'm not afraid to do things that before I had apprehension about, especially when it comes to professionally, like my job. There was certain things I was terrified to learn how to do the paperwork because dude, I'm gonna mess this up because and then now it's just weird. As soon as I get my toes into it and I get a hold of it, I'm just oh, this is actually not that hard.
So, hang on, before we go any further, right? So, you picked up a sponsee, right?
I did.
How does it feel to have someone struggling with life and addiction come ask you for help?
Man, humbling, to be honest. And also, I feel like I said, a new step in my evolution as what I'm becoming and what I want to become. This is the part of the journey where I'm learning how to not just help somebody else, but also learning that I'm helping myself by doing this. I heard it in one of the rooms the other day. It was selflessly selfish almost. And
Absolutely.
And what I'm learning is how to be. It's like having somebody that doesn't depend on, but needs you for advice, especially in your sobriety. And it really kind of it's like having wet concrete that's still kind of dry, but when I became a sponsor, it's like the sun's beaming on it now, so it's kind of solidifying itself more, and I'm more confident in my sobriety because not only am I doing it for myself, but I have to be solid in my sobriety for somebody else now. And that
you get that responsibility.
yeah,
And
you get that willpower to stay concrete in your own sobriety.
I find when I'm talking with people, that when I first came into recovery, you have about 1 million questions, right, about yourself.
Oh yeah,
different things, and it's not an immediate answer to those questions. But the more I work with people, the more I talk with people and get out, during the middle of conversation, I'll just be like, "Ding."
Yeah, it's crazy how that happens.
The answer appears. You know what I mean?
And I have this. It's been happening a lot lately. Actually, it's when I've been sharing in the room.
Yeah.
I find myself answering my own question.
Quick.
It's like God's all right, I'm gonna give you the answer, but it's gonna come from your mouth.
Yep.
Your higher power, and it's just one of those things. It's it's so crazy. It's like the light. It really does feel like a light comes on. I was like, ugh. It's the whole time.
Yeah,
it's like we have the answers all in us because we're all part of the same thing that's created everything. And so I feel like somewhere you have that knowledge already, and it's just letting you remind yourself that hey, you already know the answer to the problem. You just got to answer it yourself.
Well, it reinforces.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It reinforces you to where you actually start believing in yourself, that confidence level, that self-worth, everything goes up because you start saying, okay, maybe I do have something here.
And it's another thing that I've been noticing is I trust my gut and my instincts so much now, especially that gut instinct to do something right, to not half-ass anything, to not be lazy. That gut instinct that I know, that feeling of And it's just simple tasks, like even like a simple task like cleaning my bedroom.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I'll organize that tomorrow. And in my head, it's all like, why don't you just do it now? And I'm like, I'll do it now. And then I do it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I feel so much better. And it's just like having that, I don't know if it's the connection to my higher power or the connection to my higher self that like it's becoming a reflex for me to check myself.
Yeah.
Like we're used to, when you're drinking all the time, you don't have the willpower to even stop drinking, much less check yourself. And now I have the confidence in myself, and I know when I'm out of line, and I check myself real quick. I'm the first person to put myself back in the line now.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where like I like that.
Yeah.
I like the fact that I can reel myself back in, and I don't need somebody else to do it. I mean, sometimes we all need the person to like be like, "Hey, dude, maybe you should relook at what just happened." But I would say about 85 to 90% of the time, I check myself before I let it get to a point to where I start feeling bad about myself. And that's just that practice alone has been really instrumental in building the confidence that I've been finding lately to just get stuff done.
I think people don't understand how important structure and the broadness of what structure is, right?
Yeah.
So like structure is how we plan our days. It's the rules and guidelines of things that we have to follow. It's everything we don't want to do, right?
Yeah.
Like it's everything that, like you said, I'll do it tomorrow or do it later, And it was funny because I was teaching a class last night, and I was telling the guys, like, look, for everybody who don't want to do stuff, think about when you were locked up. And I asked the whole class, I said, how many of y'all like to clean the day room at night? They let you out of your cell for about an hour. You get to clean the day room.
Oh, yeah.
Just about everybody shot their hands up.
They're like, yeah.
And I said, well, why did you want to do that? And they're like, well, because it gave us something to do. Okay, so you have options. You can be in the world, do a whole bunch of stuff that you don't want to do to better your life, or you can go back to cleaning the day room. You know what I mean? It's that simple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Either way, you're still in a situation where you really don't want to do it. But it's kind of weird how the psyche works, you know what I'm saying? In the world, people tend to get complacent and lazy. But then when they're locked up, they want to do stuff.
Yeah. And like my deal lately is like we were talking about earlier, man, if I sit down, if I'm sitting too long not doing anything, I feel out of place. Like I'm like, I need to find there's something I can be doing right now. Like I'm just, it's to me, it's to the point, and I've always kind of been that way. I'm a chef, so I've always been kind of a spaz, and I have to constantly be doing something. But I feel like in sobriety, it's like that. Not only that, but my compulsion to keep things organized and call it OCD or whatever. But I am so much more structured, and like I find that when I have the willpower to keep structure, like within my own self, like everything just seems to work a lot better.
Well, you're proud of yourself at that point.
And then I just don't feel like I have to work so hard to motivate myself to do things, because I've already in my willpower set out the path for myself of the least resistance to get to where I want to go, because I've set myself up to get to where I want to go. And I feel like every day that I stay in sobriety, and now that I'm helping people and I'm learning more lessons every day, it's just like I'm clearing the path for me to walk forward more every time I do that. Like keeping myself in line. Not only that, but it also bleeds over into my work too. Like I'm so OCD about my paperwork at work now. Like I have things down to the number. I've been writing things down, and I'm going to get better. I'm not the best at it yet. But like I find myself every day I get into work and I'm in the office doing paperwork, like I'm a lot more structured. And like it's nobody's telling me to do this. It's just like I do it out of willpower, because I'm like, this is the way I would want it done.
So that's something else I know has changed since the last time we talked. Tyler got a promotion.
Oh yeah, I got a little bit of bump.
Yeah, you got a little bit of a bump, bro.
Yeah, I got the title of sous chef up at work, and so that comes with a little bit more responsibility, paperwork, and I've been doing a lot more things on the back end, like social media posts, pictures, making sure inventory and stuff like that. And like I said, I'm a work in progress. I'm still learning how to do these things through a really, really good mentor of mine, Chef Albert Vargas. over at the Drunken Oyster. That dude has been very instrumental in man, that dude sat on the sidelines for a long time waiting for me to get my crap together, man. And so now I'm trying to like let him know that his patience is paying off with me, like just being a better employee.
Yeah.
And my owner as well. She's like my big sister, like Rory Shapizi, shout out to Drunken Oyster. Like, man, that woman's been she was there day one when the wreck happened in the hospital. Like, so yeah, I've got a good team over there, man. I tear up a little bit because like they do mean a lot to me. They're really good to me.
You know, support teams are everything in recovery.
Yeah.
To me, like when I and this applies to me as well. There was a lot of times where I tried to get sober by myself.
Yeah.
Failed every time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was I don't want to say it was a lack of willingness, because like there was times where I was willing, but the compulsion or the withdrawal or something always brought me back to it, right?
Yeah,
or the situation in life or whatever. You know, people don't understand, like when we open up one negative door, it's like a floodgate.
Yeah, it's like the elevator doors in The Shining. It just
it's like a dam broke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just floods in on you, and you're like, man, all I really wanted to do was just, you know, not do nothing on a Tuesday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just wanted to chill, and then it's like
life falls apart real quick. You know, had a conversation with a guy the other day. He just showed up, and it was like 3:00 in the afternoon, right? And he had this wife beater T-shirt on. He was wearing sweats, and he had his house shoes on. And I said, "What'd you do today?" He said, "Nothing." I said, "Well, I can tell you what you're going to do for the rest of the day just by looking at you." You know what I mean? And again, we're going back to structure, right?
Yeah.
Man, getting up and preparing for the day is vital.
Oh yeah,
Vital.
It's a mantra for me, really.
You know, because I've noticed the most productive people in life are people that are up at 4:30, 5:00 in the morning.
Yeah, usually my internal timer goes off about 6:30.
And I'm trying to get to that 5:30 mark. I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah.
It's tough, bro.
Like the 6:30 mark, that's usually where I stay at, because usually, well, unless I got to be at work like at 8 in the morning, then I'm usually up about 5:45. But yeah, about 6:30. Like sleeping in for me is 8:30 in the morning.
But if I don't prep my day when I get up, like if I don't get up and actually get
like
dressed,
I have to like set it out. Yeah.
Like if it's noon and I'm still in my pajamas, I'm not doing nothing.
Yeah,
like I'm doing nothing for the entire day.
I've set nothing up for myself for today.
You know, people will call and say, "Hey man, you want to go?" No, bro, I'm already on the couch in my comfy clothes watching TV. Like I'm not doing nothing today.
Yeah, and that's something that I've learned lately is, man, crazy enough. When they tell you to write things down, I really didn't understand the power of doing that up until the last like 3 or 4 months. And it's like, if I write something out, for some odd reason, it's like I've put it already in existence and I have to follow through.
Yep.
I find myself doing that at work. Like I've been overhauling just like some like the way the stations need to be closed and cleaned at the end of the night. And it's not like we're a very clean kitchen. I mean, we have great health inspections and stuff, but like in a kitchen, something can always be done better. And I feel like, you know, as a leader, I want to overhaul this stuff. And like, I just wrote it down. This is what I want to do today. And it's like, I didn't have to try to kickstart myself to get that project done. It was just like, oh, that's on the task list today. Let's get it done. And like, that's what I go back to, like structuring myself before the day starts is like, it's like taking, like writing things down. It's almost like taking a machete and cutting down the bushes so like you can walk through easier.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like that's what it is for me, is when I write stuff down, I'm cutting the bushes down so I can see forward easier. And it's a lot, I take a path of least resistance rather than just having to fight my own willpower to get anything done.
You know, another thing I kind of see people with jobs, man, bro, I'm so proud of you, man, when it comes to the Drunken Oyster. If y'all have not followed Tyler Valentine, man, he's posting he'll make your mouth water real quick on some of the stuff he be cooking up.
And that's just not me, dude. That's a team effort of really good chefs. Shout out to Chef Steve. Shout out to Steph Kevin. Shout out to my boy Q Ball. Like us four, like it's a team that keeps the kitchen together. And then, you know, we've got our boss Albert, Chef Albert, and like, I mean, that dude's just a well of knowledge. And like I said, man, he's one of those leaders that he does lead by example. I mean, that guy, I think he's taken one day off in the last month and a half, if that. And even that was to go to a doctor's appointment. So it's just like, He's a real good motivator of like when you think you're like, oh, I think I've done enough for today. You like it's like a real good motive. Like, well, I could do a little bit more, you know. And at this point, I used to think that I was doing it to make other people proud. And this is where I think I've turned in my confidence and my willpower. Is I used to do it like months ago. I was doing it to like make sure that Albert and my owner were like happy with me and that they saw my progress. And now I already know that they're proud of me and happy about me. So I don't need to try as hard to impress them. I'm here to impress myself.
So like at work, right? A lot of people come in a job and they say, these are my job requirements. This is what I have to do. To get your promotion at where you're at, what all did it take to do outside of your requirements?
I mean, just coming in off the clock, like on my days off, coming in and learning how to do the truck orders correctly from Albert. Coming in and just actually getting on the computer and learning the numbers and learning our labor, our inventory, and how those actually affect the day-to-day function of the restaurant. That is what I'm deep diving in now. And it's crazy to see for me because like before I used to look at that, I'm like, dude, that is way too complicated. I don't know if I can tackle that. And now the more I dig into it, I'm like, this isn't that complicated. It's numbers. It's keeping people accountable for not just your inventory and your waste, but accountable for your labor as well. And in a restaurant, honestly, outside of food costs, labor is what's going to cost us the most. And the ability to make sure that your employees are still getting a livable wage, but at the same time, keeping your owner happy by keeping that down. That's a balance I'm learning how to find. And I'm confident in myself now that I'm going to nail it and I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to find that Goldilocks zone. And for me, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey kind of thing. And I'm just excited to see like what I'm capable of in the future. And the only way I'm capable of doing that is staying sober, and adhering to my higher power and adhering to my own actual internal willpower that I've always had. It just took a car wreck almost killing me and 15 years of dragging myself through the mud to get to. Yeah. But the more I think about it, is like, it's almost as if I was supposed to go through those years. Like I was supposed to drag myself through the mud to get to the point that I'm at now, to not only realize and appreciate my reality now, but also to have those experiences to help people in the future, because I could not have gone through all of this crap for just to help me, because that's very selfish. Well, I didn't learn all these lessons and go through all this crap just to help myself. It's to help myself to help others. And that's why it's like I said, sobriety is like one of the best games, or like just getting in a room and just sharing with people. It's the best game of telephone ever. It's like you get to see everybody's different perspectives, and whether they mirror yours or not, that's a perspective from another person that's all part of the same crazy thing we call the universe and reality. So therefore they are part of your higher power, God. And for you not to listen to that other person is like not listening to your higher power, because that is in essence a part of your higher power as well. So it's like you're listening to yourself essentially when you're in these rooms, and you just need to take those lessons. Yeah. I
go to AA quite a bit, and I don't necessarily follow the AA way, like word for word,
Yeah.
It's where my recovery started,
mm-hmm.
But like I had this conversation the other day, like, why do I still go to these meetings if that's not necessarily the road I go down? And, my answer to that is because no matter how I feel about the topic or whatever step it's on or whatever in that room, it gives me an opportunity to look at myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every time I'm in there, I get a look at me. It says that refresher. You know what I mean? No matter what the conversation's about, I can look at my life and go, okay, I can see where I'm slipping. I can see where I'm doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like my feelings, all those kinds of things.
Yeah, from other people's purviews and perspectives, you can easily find, even outside of your own ego, you can find out what you're doing wrong, even when you feel like you're doing everything right.
Well, it's a healthy way for me to find where I'm balanced and where I'm unbalanced.
And that's another thing is I've noticed is it sounds kind of crazy, but I've been really into meditation stuff, and it's this thing called shadow work. Yeah. And really it's meditating, and it's actually delving into the more darker parts aspect of your personality and learning how to. And see, I feel like everyone has like they want to banish that side of them. That side's going to be in you for your entire life. So the best way to do is to find peace with that side of you and find what that side of you, like that darker side of you sometimes can come into play and like be a real good defense mechanism against stuff that you don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
And don't need to. And I found like the more I do this shadow work thing, this more meditation thing, I think that's another reason why I've been so confident in myself is because I've learned how to forgive myself.
Yep.
And, step 4 is all about, coming up with your pros and cons list. And that was one of the hardest steps for me because it was real hard to delve deep inside. It's real hard to be like super honest. It's easy to be honest with a person about yourself, but it's hard to be honest with yourself about yourself.
Yep.
And because then that's when you really have to eat crow, is when you're all like, dude, I got to deal with this. And I feel like the more I'm doing meditation and shadow work, the more I'm confident in myself because I don't feel bad about that other side of me anymore.
Honestly, I couldn't even step into recovery until I could learn to forgive. Like step 1, like I couldn't even grasp all of recovery until I actually learned to forgive.
Yeah.
Like, and people don't understand, like that is liberating. It's huge. It's huge. And I'm real big on this unconditional love concept.
Mm-hmm.
And
you always have been. I really like that too.
Yeah. How can I learn to love unconditionally if I don't know how to forgive in the same manner? You know what I mean? They go hand in hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but like when I actually laid it all out there and forgave myself and forgave other people and, asked for forgiveness in the same manner, like, bro, it freed my soul. Freed my soul in a huge way.
And that's kind of what I'm starting to, because even like, coming up on a year sober, it's just up until the last couple of months that I feel like I've fully actually forgiven myself.
Yeah, you got to let go of that negativity, bro.
And I think that's where a lot of this confidence is growing from, is that I took that part of that part that I still didn't like, my other side of myself. It's almost like I took that, like that anxiety and that, like, I wouldn't say hatred, but like, sympathy for that other side of myself and using that, and I just kind of started learning how to grind that down and use that as fertilizer for the confidence that's starting to grow right now. And I love it, man. I'm gonna keep watering that plant because my entire adult life I have not liked myself. I feel like that was one of those things that kept me in like drinking and doing drugs, and I felt like that was one of those things, that was one of those hands that always kept me down. And the funny thing about that is when you're in your addiction and your alcoholism at that point, you feel like somebody else is holding you down. And because like us alcoholics, we really like to play the victim.
That's everybody, bro.
I think that too, but like maybe it's more specifically, I think, geared toward me because I did like to play the victim. Like woe is me kind of bullcrap. And now it's crazy. Now that I'm moving into this new version of myself that I'm becoming, dude, those kind of people annoy the crap out of me, man. Like the people that are just like, oh, the world's against me, pitiful, poor me. Well, you know what? Maybe you're looking at it different. It's not you against the world. It's you not working with the world.
I always got to look at it like this, right? When I hear people like that and I looking at them, I see myself. You know what I mean? And I see myself in that.
Yeah.
So right. I'm sitting there, I'm like,
I think that's maybe another thing. Yeah.
I got to find grace here because I was at that point.
Yeah, I was at that. The world sucks.
It's real important to me that I keep those old feelings and emotions that I've had coming out of my addiction and in my addiction, at the forefront of my mind because I was that person. You know what I'm saying? When I'm talking to people, I'm like, yep, that was me 3 years ago. All the way, that was me. And all I can do is try to help that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how I project myself, how I talk to them, the tone of my voice, my body language, everything matters at that point because I want that person to really know that I care about them.
Yeah.
And I want to help them. So if I'm throwing out, bro, you just got to get off that, get off that voice box and you know what I'm saying? Sometimes the way we come across to people is huge.
Yeah.
No,
you're right. And like in that, like, dude, you're completely right. Like hearing people, you're like, I hear myself, man, I really do. Cause like, I just got through, I went through that car wreck and I'm in pain pretty much somewhere on my body. I'm in pain at all times. And then I hear people around me who are like 20 years old complain about back pain. And then I'm instantly like, I instantly want to do that old man thing for a second. Not so much anymore, but I did when I first got hurt. When people were like complaining about pain around me, I'm like, and then now I'm just like, dude, comparison is the thief. I heard this in a room one day, like comparison is the thief of joy. So like anytime I try to compare my pain to somebody else's, I instantly take all joy, gratitude, and positivity out of the situation. It's like I vacuum seal all the positivity out of a situation when I'm just like, yeah, they hurt, I hurt, everybody hurts, it sucks.
You know,
And
one of those, it's one of those things like I don't try to, I don't get involved with negative conversation.
or like one-upping conversations.
Well,
I hate that too.
It's like conversation that desensitizes a person's pain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like when people talk about like, you know, you can turn on the news and you see tons of when we talk about life, right? Well, those people deserve that. And these people, you know what I'm saying? I hate those types of conversations.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is exposing the hate in your heart.
Well, no, that was
you know what I mean? And it's negative.
It exposes your limited perspective of the human experience in general.
You know what I mean? So I don't get involved in it, and it kind of frustrates me sometimes.
Yeah.
When I hear about people just like nonchalantly get bashed, and I'm just like,
well, it's just like that one dude from, I can't remember his name. He's an idiot that runs around Amarillo ruining people's day. The guy that went to Westgate Mall and told all the kids Santa Claus wasn't real. That dude. And apparently he was outside of Cheddar's, apparently, like, bashing lesbian moms. I'm like, dude, this is I'm like, you know, for a guy who says he's a part of God and everything, it's a real limited perspective of unconditional love if you hate somebody for their lifestyle. You can't, like, and that's the thing, you can't exclusively say, oh, I love God, but I hate these people. That's not how it works, man. Like you said, unconditional love means, hey, dude, we're different. I may not, like, it's just, I just feel like people pick fights about stupid crap because they're so unhappy with themselves that they have to feel the need to redirect that negativity to somebody who doesn't even deserve it.
I kind of look at it like this, right? Like we can have talks about Jesus Christ and the Bible, and you know, those are a lot of talks that everybody tries to stay away from because there's just so much conflict in it, right?
Yeah.
Like people will find ways to contradict scripture all day long, right? So it just turns into this argument. So I have to look at it kind of like, in a sense like this. If the Bible was trying to teach me one thing over all other things, if it was just trying to teach me one main concept, what would that concept be?
Unconditional love.
Love.
That's
love
it.
for God, love for myself, and love for others.
You know, like I've said this before, and I've heard this from a couple podcasts and like some reading that I've done, but I feel like good and evil are kind of a very human generalized term, and if you really take it on a broader spectrum, all the evil in the world, all the most evil things you can think of came out of one base emotion, which is fear.
Right.
And I feel like it's not so much good and evil, it's fear and love, man. Like, I think those are the more defining aspects in, like, good and evil. Because good and evil can be thrown relative to anybody's perspective, whatever they're going through. But I feel like fear and love are basically, like, those are two wavelengths that have never wavered. Like, your idea of good and evil can change from day to day. But your idea of love and fear, those stay pretty concrete your whole entire life. And I feel like those are more base ideas than just like, oh, that person's an evil person. No, they're just afraid of something and they're being an ass about it.
So I think that kind of falls with that. Okay, I think God didn't want to give us free will for a reason, because he knew that we didn't know how to discern right from wrong and good from evil. You know, because sometimes we think that we're doing good things, but we're really just like doing some really god awful things.
Yeah.
By either co-signing it or, you know,
or standing by and not doing anything about it.
Yeah, or standing by and not doing anything about it. You know, seeing wrongdoings and saying, you know, one thing it drives me nuts is when we especially talk about the legal system, and you know, people who are in the legal system are just like distraught by it, right?
Yeah.
Then you ask people who aren't, and they say, "Well, it's just a broken system. It is how it is." That line right there will almost enrage me every time, because it's like you're cool with it just being as jacked up as it is.
Yeah. The fact that we have more people incarcerated in the state of Texas than they do in almost all of Europe.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's like you really got to. My idea on the judicial system is pretty not a huge.
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I feel like we're in more of the business of incarceration than rehabilitation for sure.
So when I Googled it, and this was a little while back, but when I Googled it, Texas Department of Corrections was the fourth biggest profiteering company
Oh
in
yeah,
Texas.
dude, privatized prison systems.
Billions.
Privatized prison systems, and like in Texas,
It's a
like
business.
everybody thinks oil in Texas, which yeah, you make a lot of money doing oil, but dude, if you look at the privatized prison system, that's like right underneath it, man. Because like you got to think the government's probably giving this prison X amount of money for each inmate, and they're only spending maybe a third on that inmate and just pocketing the rest of it. And then obviously they're not doing any upgrades on the jail because it still looks like crap. So where's that money going?
Most of them are makeshift that I've seen.
Yeah.
Or, it's especially the ones I've been to, they were just like tin huts,
Yeah.
just real quick, thrown together.
And and not only that, but if you look at it, these people are incarcerated. So to the broader general population, they're all like, oh yeah, well they probably deserve it. So no one's really looking in on the humanitarian side of that because they're like, oh yeah, they're probably in there for something they did. And then so these people who own these privatized prison systems get away with treating other people like crap because nobody thinks that they deserve to be treated anything better. And that is a really messed up perspective that this country has had about incarceration for many, many years.
And I think what, so people will say don't become emotionally attached to people because it'll cloud your judgment.
I think that's bull crap.
So when I hear that, right, I ask myself.
Yeah, we've talked about it,
I ask myself, I wonder if Jesus felt the same way.
Yeah, don't think so.
I wonder if he performed the miracles that he performed for people by not being emotionally attached to those people. When you want to talk about, take even, a lot of people don't like the God conversation. It makes them feel uncomfortable, right? So let's just take the spiritual aspect of Jesus out of the way. Let's look at Jesus as the man, right? The most influential, positive impact any one person has ever put on this planet. The most talked about, the most studied, the most taught. You know what I'm saying? Like, his way of life has survived over 2,000 years.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
You know what I'm saying? And no one steps anywhere close to the things that he did.
And it's one of those things that, I feel like another thing that people forget about the story of Jesus was, if you really break down his message, he was really trying to teach. I think that's another reason why he's so much hated. He never hated anything, but why he was so against the Pharisees and the established church of the time, because he was like, that's not how this is supposed to work. And I feel like what he was trying to transcribe to all of us, through his messages and just emotion in general, is that you can get to God without having to talk to somebody else. You can literally talk to God by yourself. You don't need, and church is great. I love going to church. I haven't been in a while, but I'm connected with my higher power. But I feel like, I think what Jesus was a part of his message was you can have a conversation with God without having to go through somebody else. Because a lot more time and I heard this in the room the other day. Somebody was like, people are like, I haven't heard God's message. He's not screaming loud at me. Well, if somebody's standing beside you, why do they need to scream at you? If they're standing beside you, they can just, hey, dude.
So I kind of look at it like this, right? What makes studying the Bible so difficult? What makes understanding Jesus' way so difficult, right? Again, going back to it, because it puts us at a vulnerable state.
Mm-hmm.
It puts us at a vulnerable state where we have to look at ourselves, right?
Accountability, man.
And we have to look at ourselves, but then also, today we don't have a clear understanding of love.
Oh, no.
Bro, I've been practicing this for the last 2 years now. Well, year and a half. But I never knew what real unconditional love was.
Yeah.
So anytime the conversation of love came up, it takes me to that weak spot. It takes me to that vulnerable spot where I feel uneducated, or I don't really know, or it has a negative connotation because of the traumas or things that I went through in my past. You know what I'm saying? So what makes it so hard to study? Well, because it's going to expose that weak spot in all of us, because none of us really understand what real unconditional love is.
Yeah.
That's why you have domestic violence problems and all these, relationship and social issues is because people just genuinely don't know how to love each other. We will find people who will find the pettiest reason to hate someone or the biggest reason to hate someone.
Yeah.
But it'd be almost an act of God for people to step out of their day to help someone else.
Man, I'll tell you, the biggest, you know how I knew unconditional love was a real thing, and honestly, it wasn't even from a church, it wasn't from a preacher, and it wasn't even from a Bible. The biggest way I knew unconditional love is humanly possible is through my brother and my sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Because all the crap I put them through when I was an alcoholic, hiding from them because I didn't want them to see me drunk, or I didn't want to come in the house because I couldn't get as drunk as I wanted to around my family, or, I mean, this is how you know unconditional love exists. The night I got into my car wreck and almost died, my brother's mother had died that morning. I almost put my brother through. It was already one of the worst days of his life, and I could have easily made it the worst day of his life. And the fact that I selflessly left the house that night to go get drugs so I could come back and quote unquote help my brother through this when all I wanted to do was go home and get drugs. And then I ended up in a ditch almost dead. And for that man to still forgive me and to house me and to feed me and to take care of me, him and my sister-in-law, both, that team right there, bro. And I hope they listen to this, and I hope they know how much I love them. But literally the very foundation for everything that I'm becoming came from those two.
Yeah, bro.
Man,
it's love.
But
it's love that saves your life.
And this is what unconditional love feels like. Like, my whole childhood, I felt like I was either abandoned or pushed off or moved somewhere. But when my brother came into my life and my sister-in-law came into his, I always knew when I came home on home visits that I had somebody.
Yeah.
Outside of anybody else, he had my back, and he still does. And, like, my brother is my keeper. And I know I'm getting a little emotional, but if you want to know what unconditional love feels like, it's what this. Because, like, if it came down to two people in the world that I had to count on, it'd be my brother and my sister-in-law every day of the week. Trey and Shanda, I love them so much because I don't know where the hell I would have been with this wreck if I wouldn't have had them as my foundation, man.
I honestly feel like, there's this notion, right, that we have to learn through pain.
Yeah.
Like there's and that may be true today. But I feel like that's only true.
I feel like that's not the only path to get to love.
It's not the strongest. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, definitely the most dramatic.
You know what I'm saying? You want to talk about what's going on with like substance use and mental health.
Yeah.
And social problems, community problems. You know what I'm saying? When we use pain as the motivator, you know what I'm saying? Like, we destroy people. And I can tell you right now, 30 years of drug addiction, pain never taught me nothing.
No.
Pain never taught me nothing. It taught me bitterness, taught me how to hate, taught me how to be angry.
Do you think at some subconscious level it taught us to crave more pain?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, I was talking about this the other day when I was sharing. I feel like, God, we love to wallow in that self-pity, man. I love to wallow in self-pity, and that was my excuse. Like, an alcoholic can come up with any excuse to want to drink. I mean, I was awake. That's the reason why that was my excuse. But I feel like any alcoholic, and then like to wallow in your own self-pity and just keep yourself down there, it was so comfortable to sit down there and be like, woe is me. And, man, when I got to sobriety and like, they say God works in people's lives and, your higher power will work in your life. Well, I got tough love. I got a swift kick in the back of the head and being like, hey, man, this is it. And like, I feel like this could have gone multiple different ways. I could have come out of the hospital and I could have been like, all I want to do is drink right now. I just feel like you can drink. I'm in pain. But the one thing I knew when I got up and the second day I was in the hospital and I was cognitive, the one thing I knew, like, inherently in my head, it's like it's always been there. It's like, we cannot drink anymore. Like, I just can't. And like, that was when I had a whole month in the hospital bed to like really deep like get real deep and dig into myself. Like I already knew what the main problem was. I knew drugs and alcohol. That's it. That's my problem. But then it started when I got in the program and started talking to people. Like there's a lot of things that fueled that need for alcohol and drugs in me. And that those are the things that I really have to deal with if I really, really want to truly understand what being grateful about sobriety is.
It's that pain, bro.
Yeah.
It's those wounds.
Yeah.
Right? So I hit a point over a certain amount of years to where in my mind, can't hurt me no more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hit this numb stage, you know what I'm saying, in my head where I became emotionally numb, you know, and desensitized. You know what I'm saying? To where I would step into some of the stupidest situations.
Just to see if you could still feel again?
Just to see what would happen. Knowing something bad was about to happen, I'd be like, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway.
Stirring the pot just to see if it flows over?
Just because I felt like, you know what I'm saying? Like, can't nobody do nothing to me anymore that I ain't already been through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't hurt me anymore. I've been through too much. That's why I say pain never taught me nothing.
Yeah.
It taught me how to do some really stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember walking into the Deluxe Inn on Northwest Highway in Dallas one night to go buy some dope. And it was from people who didn't like me, right? Did it anyway. Like 3 o'clock in the morning.
You're like, this will be fun.
Yeah, I'm going to have a good time with this, right? And the people I went with, right, they're like, we'll wait for you in the car. Because, like, everybody knew this was going to go bad. And I'm doing it with a smile on my face, like, welcoming this problem. Right?
Yeah, let's go kick the hornet's nest.
So I go knock on the door, and the dude answers the door, and it's pitch black in the room.
That's never good.
Pitch black, can't see nothing. What do? What's up, bro? You want to come in? Yeah. I step into this pitch black room. Door shuts behind me, door locks, flips the lights on. There's like 5 dudes in this room, and there is plastic from the floor all the way up to the ceiling, all the way around this room.
Like some straight up American Psycho.
And
Bale.
everybody in here's got either a shotgun or an automatic rifle. And I'm like, yeah, tonight's the night. And I walked out. Got what I needed and walked out. Made no sense to me.
That is crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So pain taught me to hate myself. It taught me to hate my life. You know what I'm saying? Hate everything around me. But ultimately, what saved my life was a whole lot of love.
Yeah.
It was a whole lot of love.
No, like I said, man, the dude
when people start expressing love to me, and it was people who normally wouldn't, or people that knew my past and still helped me, or, you know, like my wife, who when we first got together, I wasn't a good boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like, truth be told, I really wasn't. And she still stuck beside me through a really hard time. I had to look at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, you know, of course, everything that's grown since then, the people that I'm attached to today, you know what I mean? It blows my mind.
It just works.
You get around these people that are just full of love, and it makes you want to love them back.
I just feel like, and like lately, yeah.
And it's taught me to love myself.
And dude, like I had a lot of, you know, friends, and like I still do. I still love those people. I still love all the people that I was connected to before the wreck and after. I love them all. But you know what? I can say one thing for a lot of my friends is that even if they are drinking still and stuff, they are all very supportive. I've noticed that, man. Even people who are still drinking and stuff, when it's weird, man. You get sober and you start staying and stuff. The people who you didn't think were gonna be most proud of you are the people that are proud of you, and that's crazy to me. And man, I just I
think what's really cool is when random people. So like my parents would always show me love, right?
Yeah.
But I had already had this negative connotation in my head throughout the years of those relationships. So when it was people I didn't know at all, you know what I'm saying? It was people that I didn't know at all that just showered me with love. I'm like, what? Like, why?
Oh, dude, crazy. That I mean, on this subject,
it's when random people do it where it just becomes like
that's what it happened.
Mind blowing.
It happened to me a couple days ago. A dude that I used to work with, a friend, hit me up. He was like, "Man, I'm proud of you. Like your recovery and everything. Like it's really inspiring. It actually inspired me to stop drinking."
Yeah.
Like I haven't talked to him in years. I mean, we've been Facebook friends, But I guess he's been kind of like watching my progression of my journey.
Yeah.
And I guess that hit a nerve with him. And he's like, I have stopped drinking. And he was like, you were an inspiration for that. I was like, and I told him, I was like, man, honestly, dude, that is amazing. I appreciate that. But you were the one who did the work. I just said some stuff that maybe hit a nerve with you. And then he was like, no, but seriously, like you inspired me to stop drinking and to get a little sober.
This is one of my...
And that's crazy to me.
This is one of like my core missions of Better Days Reign, right? We're talking about that selflessness, right?
Yeah.
So how does it feel to be an inspiration to somebody just by improving yourself?
I think the beginning of my sobriety, if this would have happened, I would have felt really out of place and not deserving. But now I'm at a better place, and I'm like, and it's not that like, I don't feel like, I don't have that thing in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, look what I did. I'm just like, oh damn,
no,
that's cool.
But it's cool when my self-improvement inspires somebody else behind me.
And I think that's the whole, like, man, I think that's one of the reasons why we're all here is to help each other, man, because we're all stuck on this blue rock hurling around this sun constantly. Like, if we don't have each other on this planet, who the hell else has us, you know?
Yep.
Like, and I think that's one of the main teachings that, Jesus was trying to portray in whatever way he did it, was that, like, dude, you gotta watch each other's back too.
Yeah.
Like, God's here for you, but at the same time, what he wants you to do really is watch each other's back, because then you'll feel love and then you'll feel God.
Yep.
And then that's what the whole lesson's supposed to be about. Like, hey, and like we said on the last podcast, I was like, I think if you take everything and boil it down to one pot, it's just don't be a dick, man.
Just stop.
Just
stop.
don't. Like,
well, and here's the thing, I want you, like, in my addiction, I always carried this mentality, like, it's a cold world, people are heartless, people are ruthless, so I'm just going to be the same way.
Yeah.
People are going to get at me, so I'm going to get at them, and it's this cycle of just trash, right?
Yeah.
And good people get caught up in it. You know what I mean? Like, we just get this cycle of being horrible people. And it's, a dog-eat-dog world, and only the strong survive, right? Yes, that was true. That was true for 25 years of my life. That is no longer true to my life today.
No.
Like, and it started with me, right? So I had to look at me and say, what am I going to change? I'm going to start acting out of love. I'm going to become a benefit to people. I'm going to be a supporter for people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm going to take on responsibility and help others, right? So today, my world's not like that. My world is full of love.
And like
everywhere I go, no matter where I go, there's just love. I don't have no drama in my life. There's no craziness.
I don't got time for it. And it's
not
like,
even that. It's just not there.
And it's like the path that we've set ourselves on. We just don't attract those things anymore.
Right.
Like, and I really feel like the law of attraction is a real thing that people forget about. Like, what you put out comes back, man. Like that credo of like what you put out comes back tenfold. It may not be tenfold, but it does come back.
So if you want to change your life, change your world.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, if you want the house to look different, you can't paint the same color on it. You have to change your paint. Like, if you want your house to look brighter, you can't keep painting. You can't paint a black house black and expect it to be brighter in the neighborhood. You got to find a different color.
Right.
And I found a different color. Mine's a lot brighter. There's a lot of different colors on my house now, because I have a lot of different colors to paint with because of my recovery, because of listening to other people and grabbing. What I like to say sometimes is, like, I grab tools from everybody. It's like when you walk in and you hear somebody else's perspective, it's like you get a tool and you get to put in your tool bag. You may not need it then, but there may be a time when you're trying to build this new version of yourself. You're going to need that tool. You're like, oh, that's what that was for.
Yep.
And it's like, I don't know. I've always said this, and I don't know if it came from my own brain or I heard it somewhere. But, dude, I really believe in my heart that gratitude is the cheat code of the universe. Man, when you're grateful, like, the universe will be grateful that you're grateful, and you'll get some good stuff. It may not be the way you see it, and sometimes you may miss it if you don't pay attention. But if you're grateful, just good things will happen. If you're grateful enough to understand that everything isn't going to be okay, but it won't stay that way forever.
Well, I think discipline is one of those foundation piers that is like a promoter of gratitude, right? As we discipline ourselves and we, step into a new life and we start achieving things, that self-worth grows up. So then I have something to start being grateful about.
Yeah, it's like a domino effect. You start
You know?
being grateful, you start having your willpower, you start being confident, and like everything starts falling in line. I mean, at least that's how it's working for me.
Yeah. And that's really how it works, man. A life of gratitude. Like when you're living a life of gratitude, I always tell people, man, it's hard to have a bad day if you're smiling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's really hard to have a bad day when you have stuff to smile about. And when I look at 3 years ago, bro, you know, I had this thing over this last weekend where I was just kind of 3 years ago, where was I? You know what I mean? And it was just like, oh my God, it took me back to my rock bottom. You know what I mean? And that was a horrible place for me at the time, you know, to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And do I still have hardships? Yeah. But like, bro, life is good.
It's like one of those things like lately, instead when something difficult's thrown my way or it feels like it's going to be a challenge, I look at it as, oh, that's a lesson to learn. Rather than, oh, crap, I have to deal with this. I'm more like, all right, what are we going to learn out of this? Rather than I have to deal with it, it's like I get to deal with it.
Yep.
Like,
well, you've picked up those tools, right? And one of those tools that I actively use is I gotta let it go.
Yeah.
If I can't do anything about it,
I can't, yeah.
If I can't do anything about something,
to accept the things you can't
bro,
change, man.
I've got to cut it loose.
Yeah, and
You
like,
know what I mean?
dude, I say the serenity prayer more often than I even like. There's sometimes I subconsciously say it out of reflex. Like something at work is just a little off, and I'm like, serenity to accept things you can't control, courage things you can. And then I'm like, all right, this is how we're gonna fix this. Rather than be like, oh man, how are we gonna deal with this? I'm like, I stop, I breathe. And I'm like, all right, what can I control about this situation? What can I? And let's deal with what we can moving forward.
Well, I think that's where like having a to-do list or a goal list of every day. So if like I hit something in one of those things that I'm trying to do where I hit a stopping point where I can't go any further, instead of just letting that screw my whole day, just go to the next thing.
Yeah, we'll just revisit this later.
Yeah, I'll come back when I can do something about it.
Maybe I just need some more time to think about it and mull it
talk
over.
to somebody about it.
I may be in the shower tonight and then I'm like, oh, I know how to fix it, you know? Like, and I've done that before too. Like, I've been like literally taking a shower and I've been wondering how to do something or what I'm going to do at work. And I'll just be sitting there listening to chill music in the morning. I'm like, and the light turns on. I'm like, all right, that's what it was. All right, cool. I'll deal with it when I get to work.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just one of those things, man. You keep yourself on a good path. It's not always calm waters. Sometimes it gets real choppy. But the fact is, the more you build your confidence, your willpower, and just the willingness to try every day, I mean, your boat will get a lot stronger. And like those strong storms will feel like a light gust in some
Well, the more confidence you are in yourself, the less compulsion to use you're going to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like today, I have problems, but I don't have the thoughts of going to the bar or going to the plug. Yeah. Like those aren't my go-to things anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Like rather than find a way to destroy myself, I try to find a way to build myself.
Like honestly, if I'm in a state of turmoil, like I'm up here at the studio.
Yeah, like
that's where I'm at.
Like mine, if I'm feeling displaced, is how I like to say it. Like when I'm feeling displaced and I feel like my emotions are not where they need to be, I pick up my guitar by myself. Give me 30, 45 minutes, and I usually get everything back in line.
Yep. Well,
because it reminds me of that I have a talent and I have a passion, and then it kind of recenters myself, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's starting to make more sense now.
Service work is a big one that. So like a lot of times, you know, when you're trying to start your own thing, right? Like I'm constantly hitting walls and I don't know moments, right? So where I just get stuck, and in those moments, like again, I come up here or I go to another chance house, and I'm like, who can I help? What can I do? Give me something.
Yeah.
Give me something to do to get my mind off of whatever.
I gotta do something. My hands gotta be.
Gotta do something, because if I sit at home, I'm going crazy.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. Especially now. I was already kind of that way, and it's funny because I used to use that same energy. But like I would get up early. I'd be like, well, Spotted Pony opens up at 11, and I'm off today. Yeah. And now I use that same like spaz motivator to be like, all right, well, it's 7:30. I've taken my shower. Now we're gonna drink another cup of coffee, and I'm gonna find something. Productive to do for myself and for other people.
Well, life can't always be about me.
Nope.
You know, it's like I was talking to some guys the other day, and I said, if I walk into the room, right, and the conversation is all about me, my problems, my life, everything that's going on with me,
mm-hmm.
How are y'all gonna feel about me? And everybody just kind of laughed and put their head down. You know what I mean? Like, get that guy away from me. You know what I'm
dude,
saying?
That guy needs to get out of his own ego, man.
Yeah, so
Not everybody cares about everything.
There's times where I gotta help other people. I gotta do things for other people. I gotta appreciate other people.
Yeah, it's like getting yourself out of yourself.
Yeah. Well, Tyler, bro.
It's been a great one. This has been fun, man.
Dude, I love having you on the show, bro. I'm really proud about everything you're doing at the Drunken Oyster. I'm proud of your program, stepping into, now man's a supporter himself.
Yeah, man. It's man, I like this new journey, and like here, we'll do another one down the road, and we'll see where we're at, man. Like I'm enjoying the journey, and I love your company, and I like coming on here, man.
You want to do some shout outs real quick before we close it off?
Shout outs, obviously, to the Drunken Oyster and Fork and Good Hospitality, to Rory Shapizi and my chef, Albert Vargas. They're doing an amazing job. We've got 3 restaurants right now, the Drunken Oyster, Savour, and the Western Horseman. So, I mean, come out. It's great, amazing food at all 3 places. Different experiences for each one, too. None of them are the same. Shout out to you and Better Days Rain. Like, you guys are amazing. And the team. You're awesome. I don't know, man. I feel a lot of love when I come in this room, and it's a lot easier to share when you've got support and love, and like if you you guys, seriously, I can't appreciate it enough, and you guys are awesome, man. Love you, dudes.
Well, y'all heard it, man. If y'all are not following Tyler Valentine on Facebook, man, check him out. He likes to post all of his little gourmet dishes that he does. Dude's an amazing cook. Be sure to check him out. Big shout out and thanks to the guys here at Warrior Garden Studios, Bald Guys Production, Mission
Warrior
Music.
Garden,
man, what else do we got going on over here? There's all kinds of stuff going on.
I'm telling you, man. There's a lot of irons in the fire. I like it.
Man, there is. We got a whole bunch of good stuff going on here. If y'all ain't following it, be sure to follow us on Warrior Garden Studios and Better Days Rain. It's we're having a lot of fun and it's impacting a lot of lives, and it's really a great thing to be a part of. Like, share, comment. This will be up on YouTube. We are on YouTube now, finally. It's been a long wait, but we're there, you know what I'm saying? So we'll be on the tube. Yeah, so we'll be adding videos weekly and lots of shorts. So please check us out. Again, like, share, follow, tell your friends about it. We're here to help. Oh, yeah, and the merch store, y'all.
Got a merch store.
I try not to make that the point of my conversation because it's like going to church, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like,
you don't want to pass the collection back.
I don't want to pass the collection back and make it all about the money, but it is a great way to support our mission. And with the help from that we get from the merch store, it allows us to do more things within our community to help others and to, keep Better Days Rain going as long as possible. So thank you guys. Y'all have a great weekend.